Hey, what's going on, everyone? Back for 2024. Sorry, I've been off for a couple weeks. Been going through some family stuff. Uh, I'm sure if you live around me, small town, you've heard a bunch of rumors. A lot of the rumors I didn't even know I did, but kind of cool. I even posted a meme said, "Damn, I did that. What did I do next?" But anyways, going through some family issues. No worry about it. But 2024 is going to be the best year ever. I know I've taken a couple weeks off, but I'm going to be on here a little bit more often. I love giving my take on current events and funny news stories and then of course the elections and stuff. By the way, big congrats to my boys in blue. Michigan won the national championship. Detroit Lions are in the playoffs. But it's going to be kind of weird because Detroit Lions are actually going to be taking on Matt Stafford and the Rams. And Detroit really loves Matt Stafford. They understand why Matt Stafford asked to leave. I mean, he stuck through us through some really tough, crappy times in ownership. Would have been great if he would have stayed. I think he is better than Jared Goff, but Jared Goff's really signed. But this isn't what this show's about today. Today's about the state of the 2024 elections. And I want to really start off with a little bit of polling here. Because Biden's in big trouble. I mean, you got Trump, A on policy, F on communication, says some dumb stuff, does some dumb stuff, is indicted all over the country. The media has been against him before he was elected, during election, and of course after the election. Guys had zero breaks. But yeah, he's doing pretty well when general matchups against Biden. And that's kind of Biden because Biden started off as basically the modern day Jimmy Carter. He sucks on foreign affairs. In Afghanistan, he withdrew. That was a debacle. Remember, if you're old enough or if you know history, Jimmy Carter lost to Ronald Reagan after one term because he allowed the embassy in Iran and the mullahs to take over from the Shah dynasty and basically destroy Iran, held our embassy hostage, which is an act of war, and was so scared, and they were so fearless of Carter and his weakness that they kind of laughed him off. But then Reagan got elected, and boom, they immediately released our hostages. You know why? Because Trump and Reagan are very similar on foreign affairs. They're tough as nails. Okay, now, I'm not into nation building like George W. Bush did. I'm not into being the policeman of the world. I think that we should have a NATO, some alliances, but we need to quit spending all of our treasure on defending all these other countries. Really, I mean, whether it's people treasure or our $33 trillion in debt treasure, we need to stop the nonsense, okay? These countries have had long enough to build up their own defense, to build their own alliances. The only one that I can kind of see is Israel because they're really in a sea of surrounded by enemies, okay? So they get it. But Ukraine, they have all of Europe to help them. Taiwan has all of the rest of Asia. They could. It's like, what do you do when you go to a school and you're being bullied by one bully and everybody's scared of that one bully? Everybody get together and beat the shit out of that bully. I'm not saying I advocate violence, so don't deplatform me, please. What I'm saying is you stand up to the bullies. And that's what all these other countries can do. They need to form their own alliances. That's their backyard. You know, nobody's threatening Canada or Mexico because we're next to them. But anyways, going back to the election. Okay, let's look at a little bit of polling here. I think it's crazy. This is national polling over the last week. Look, if you look and you can see this, it says Trump, Biden over last week are flipping the lead, but that's margin of error stuff, man. If this was any other president going against Trump, I don't know if it'd be this way, especially with the media being biased. They say that media bias cooks in 10 points automatically for the Democrat. You saw it during Obama against McCain. Well, McCain was weak, and Bush also crashed the economy with the crisis. But go to Obama versus that flip-flopper guy out of Mitt Romney. Flip Romney, right? Media is biased. Joe Biden won, never left his basement. Okay, that's how the media bias cooks it in, because if you're not a big avid news watcher, that's why you should watch this show, because it's 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to give you the skinny. But if you're not big into politics, you'll know that Biden, whether he stole the election or not, I'm not getting into all that, the media was so on his side, except for maybe Fox News and a few little minor things. You have ABC News, CBS, CNN, Washington Post, New York Times, all the legacy media constantly pumping up one candidate. The people that just get their, what they call drive-by media, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, or fly-by-night news real quick, NPR headlines or something, you're going to see that you start believing it if you hear it enough, okay? This is danger for Biden. And now let me show you the next danger for Biden. Right here. Biden trails Trump by 8 points in Michigan. That's not good. Okay. Biden has to win Michigan. Michigan's a purple state. They like to flip back and forth between Democrat and Republicans. Like they ruined the state with a Democrat, like Blanchard. They brought in Engler in the 90s. Engler fixes it. They bring in Granholm. Granholm destroys Michigan. And then Snyder comes in, minus the Flint, Michigan water crisis, which was not all his fault, but he took the blame for it, and he should because he's the governor of the state. But minus that, he fixed Detroit. I mean, Detroit's booming. He's done a lot. And then what do? We bring in Whitmer, who is slowly but surely destroying the state. And with Biden losing, and if this holds true, Biden has to win Michigan and Pennsylvania in order to win the election. Unless Trump just trails everywhere else, this is really bad news. And if you look down here, when they asked, hey, who deserves to get another term? Only 17% said Biden did well enough to get another term. Look at this, 33% said Trump should get another term. That's crazy. That's double almost the numbers. And here's the other thing that really is hurting both Biden and Trump. Trump, his leads in key he's leading in all the swing states. That's miraculous. But that's just because Biden is such a bad candidate. I mean, he's just such a bad president. He has no clue where he's at. People behind the scenes are really running everything, I think. But Trump's flawed. I mean, he's indicted in many states. He's not exactly going to be Mr. Popular among the women voters. But I think with the economy doing decent, everybody's scared because inflation is eating away at home prices. People can't even get a home because if you sell your home, like me, I want to sell my house. But it's financed at like 3.5%. So yeah, I make all this equity, but it's going to get eaten up with an 8% mortgage somewhere else. So I'm thinking, man, should I really do it? So bottom line is inflation's killing them, and then immigration's killing them. People feel sorry and they want immigrants. I like immigrants, especially the smart ones that come over from Asia, because we're on a global economy and we need to compete, especially with AI and China and Russia and North Korea. We need to win in those realms. But we can only afford to take in so much of the poor and the weak and the huddled masses, as they like to say, from the Statue of Liberty. And they're tired, man. The country is, people come over here, they sneak across the border. They don't even hide from immigration anymore. They go right to a border patrol agent, turn themselves in, claim asylum because they know it's going to take 10 years for them to get a court date. So for 10 years, they can wait it out to see if the Democrats are going to give them amnesty again. So people are tired of that. I mean, so Biden's a really flawed candidate. And here's another one that's really going to kill the Democrats. A fraying coalition of Black, Hispanic, young voters abandon Biden as election year begins. As President Joe Biden heads into the election year, showing alarming weaknesses among stalwarts of the Democrat base, with Donald Trump leaning among Hispanic voters and young people. I don't ever remember a time when a Republican, they've closed the gap, but they've never actually led amongst young voters and Hispanics. And it's not just that. Black males are going more and more for Republicans every year. If they lose that, they're permanently out of power. But the reason why is because it's always going to be the party of most common sense. Now, I'll tell you how the Republicans can lose all those voters. Keep going on this abortion issue. Look, right to life, people, you won. You always said that this should be a state issue. Supreme Court agreed. Yes, this is a state issue. Quit trying to make a national ban. It's dumb. It's not going to work. And you're behind the times. Focus on what you can win. Okay? And that's where Bill Clinton was a master. Going over, here's what should terrify the Republicans. Not because she's a great candidate, not because she's really the smart lady who's going to, lead the world. Never held office, neither did Trump, but at least Trump had an empire. Remember, Trump was popular with Democrats and the rappers and everybody before he became president. But she's coming out all of a sudden, being very vocal, terrified of the 2024 election. People think she's going to run. And if she runs, the media will make sure she wins. Guaranteed. Oh, and all the gains we did with most black voters, especially anything that we did with, say, black female voters, they're going for Michelle Obama. So that should terrify us. But what's the state of the primaries now? I've been showing my screen. I'm sorry. Let me show you some of this stuff. Anyways, you heard the message. I'm a one man producer here. Okay, so that's what I was talking about. This is the Trump 8 points coalition. Black Hispanic young voters abandoning Biden. Trump lead is kind of narrowing. Um, oh, this is a great one too. And his overall approval rating. Joe Biden. You thought Donald Trump had a bad approval rating? Joe Biden has ended 2023 with the worst approval rating in presidential history. You cannot win an election unless you can really change a lot of minds in just 11 short months. Remember, the election's this year. Yeah, they don't take office till next year, but the election's this year. The first caucus or primary and all that is, I think, next week in Iowa. And Trump's going to probably handily win that. But you know who's a threat right now to good old Trump? Nikki Haley. Now, my son loves Vivek Ramaswamy. I liked him at first, too. I think he has a little mouth on him and sometimes shows himself to be a little juvenile. Uh, Most people love Trump. DeSantis was supposed to be the Trump without the flaws. He's turned out to be kind of a flawed candidate, had a bad start, went on this abortion thing. DeSantis needs to fire all his advisors and go back to what he does best. What does he do without his advisors in Florida? He has great policies. He's been a great governor of Florida. If he would just translate that over and just shut his mouth and actually attack Trump a little bit, he probably could make headway. Chris Christie, he's gone. Ada Hutchinson, I think is his name, out of the former governor of Arkansas. Maybe he's not going anywhere. They might as well all drop out. But Nikki Haley, that's a threat, and she's a smart lady, and I like her. Now, here's what worries me, and I've said this before. A lot of female Republicans turn very liberal when they get into Washington. I don't know why. Maybe it's the socialite status and all that, and they want to be invited to all the great tea parties, but there's a lot of women that stood strong. Started with Michelle Bachmann, remember in Minnesota. She went to Washington State strong. Lauren Boebert of Colorado. There's a lot of them. So hopefully she's that person. She did a great job in South Carolina as governor. I think Nikki Haley. Oh, and she would be the first female president and also the first Indian American president, just like Vivek Ramaswamy would be the first Indian. And I think she might have a great chance at doing this. Anyways, like and subscribe. I'd like to see your comments. Tell me what you think. Who do you think has the best shot and why? Don't just blindly say, F this person, all that. Put in the comments and tell me who do you think you would support in your state for presidential primary and overall general election. I think I really want to know. The people want to know, and I think it'd be a great debate. So that was today's Tater Thoughts.